We got hards on. We're going to the end.
Monza Grand Prix, I guarantee it's the only one you can play on the game. And in real life, it was all right. It was all right. And I think a good way to judge if a race was good or not, like how entertaining it was, is to see what the takeaways are. Okay. I ain't talking about a Chinese or an Indian. When I say takeaways, I'm talking I'm talking takeaways from the race. Sorry, I got distracted there. I'm already boiling. I'm already boiling. Every time I sit down to do these, I just immediately start overheating, and it's probably because I know I'm about to like have to literally like dig my heels in just to have the biggest defense of Lando Norris in my life, and it's like it's always an uphill battle. But I've just already started overheating, and we're like a minute in. But the big takeaways from the race have been the whole McLaren situation, which is like a lot less interesting version of what happened in Hungary. The only reason it's less interesting is because Piastri just did it straight away, and we didn't have the whole sort of back and forth, you know, dirty laundry being hung out across the radios like we did the first time with Lando. So that was the only difference. That's the reason I'm saying those situations were different. Um, and yeah, it was a less good version of that. And that's the takeaway from the race. That's what everyone's talking about. And there was other good things in the race. It started really well, going back and forth and stuff. A lot of good. Like the first three laps were good. And usually you get a first good lap, but like there were still overtakes going into the second, the third, the fourth lap. That was exciting. Um, but yeah, the fact that the main takeaway has became that, I think means the race wasn't that great because I kind of think it's much ado about nothing. Not to get in my Shakespeare bag, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll quickly go down through qualifying, the race rundown, soft, medium, hard awards, all that good stuff. Um, but the way I've seen people throwing their toys at the pram, and this is me getting ahead of myself. But over this race, I mean, I don't want to do this out of order, but what I will say is it's a bit soft, guys. Everyone's reaction to what's going on is a bit soft. I think everyone has been a bit sensational in what they've been saying because to me, it's whatever. And I don't think everyone's saying, oh, McLaren needs to change this, McLaren needs to do that. I don't think anyone sitting in McLaren right now, top of the constructors, top two drivers in the drivers, give a single fuck. They don't feel they're doing anything wrong at all. Sure, everyone at home and our entertainment purposes, we feel a little bit differently about it. But everyone there, no one could care less about this whole situation and see it as more of a non-issue than everyone online. But let me get up the race real quick. From what I can remember, anyway, from memory, in terms of the qualifying, Lando did beat Piastri, which I thought it was going to be another weekend, which is just classic. He's faster in all the practice sessions. He's and then the further we get through the qualifying sessions, the more of the pace he gets as the pressure actually starts to build and the fucking lap times actually start to mean something. With Lando, it's like the more the lap times actually mean something, the slower he is. And I know practices can just be ignored; they don't really mean anything. I mean, we were seeing the Ferraris at the top of the practice sessions and stuff, and like I've never watched a single practice session in my life. We'll put it that way. Um, but you know, it doesn't really mean anything. But at the same time, it's like you're always beating him in them, and then you get into the qualifying, and as we get further into it, you get worse. But yeah, I mean, from what I remember, obviously Max was on pole, and again, narrative, right? Because this is what Formula One is. It's all narratives. It's all the way you want to look at things, and it all comes down to favoritism. And no one wants to admit there is huge bias, and naturally, it's a sport, right? And everyone's got who they support, right? And no one wants to admit there's huge biases here. But I love the way how like, and it's everyone. It's not just like people online. It's just like the way it was talked about from the commentators, the interviewers. Max puts it on pole. Max wins, right? And that's good. Don't get me wrong. And this is a season where like it's McLaren dominance, and he puts it on pole and he wins the race. But talking about like this is one of F1's great victories. Nope. F1's great victories, right? Because Max led the race, started and finished it. Well, he didn't start the whole race in first. He did lose a place at first. They only lost it because the stewards got on the phone. Alex Knight just won, and he won by 20 seconds. Yeah, he won by 20 seconds because McLaren were like, "Fuck it, we ain't gonna catch. Let's just try a Hail Mary strategy." And that if they just like Matt's strategies, they probably would have got. It would have been like 10 seconds probably. And yeah, the pole was good, but like just the everyone being like, "Whoa, Max put that car on pole." Yeah, that car's quicker here. And this is the thing with Max was annoying. We never know how much quicker it is. Maybe that car on this track was no, it was the quickest. It just was in the race. You would have seen like if it, but like I can see in some people's minds. Sure, maybe on most weekends, say the Red Bull has been the fourth quickest car, the third quickest car. Maybe on this weekend it only went up to the second, and then Max dragged it to the first. I can understand how you could maybe extract that right from qualifying, but in the race you can see like no, it's just they've just got a good car for this track. Like to me, it's nothing sensational. Like this win of Max's, what he's managed to pull out the bag, like what he was doing last season, I think against Lando, was more in that sort of lane. But like the car being quick for Max and then that Max then going forth to deliver is a good job. Well done, you're Max Verstappen. That's what you do. But people have been, was acting like he took a slower car to somewhere it shouldn't have been, and then like led a whole race doing it. It was just a good tidy job from a professional. He's been in the sport for a while. What is he, a 4-time champion? Like it wasn't. And this is what I mean when I talk about the race weekend probably not being the most interesting. We're trying to gas up Max's win as if it was like one of F1's great wins, and like we're all going back and forth about this McLaren debacle, as if like this hasn't been their whole like this whole holding hands, oh friends, oh papaya friends, as if this hasn't been their whole shtick from the start. We haven't got number one drivers. We've got two number one drivers. You know, free to race, not free to race, like this and that, swap back. You're going to need him later. Lando, you're going to need Piastri later. Piastri's, you're going to need Lando there. That's actually an interesting parallel. Like when it was on that radio saying to Lando, make this switch because in the future you're going to be challenging for a world championship and you are going to need Piastri later. Move forward 12 months. And it's basically, no, it's completely the other way around. It's Piastri, move it out of the way for Lando. In this team, you're going to need Lando there, which is just crazy within that space of time. Like Lando would have been thinking this time next year, where we are now, he would have been out in the lead, and Piastri would be the clear number two. They called him the number one, but the clear number two, who was like there to basically help Lando. That's just a little thing I just thought of as now while I'm speaking. But you know, this has always been their thing. I don't know why we get surprised every time. It's kind of like at the moment is international break right for football, and every single time international break comes around, it's the same meme of what international break out of nowhere. And don't get me wrong, like a few years ago, I used to feel the same way. What, we've only had 3 weeks, three games into the season, we're going to get international break, and then you get back from it, you're so happy, and it feels like you play another 2 games, and it's like there's another one, and then you get the second one out of the way, and you're thinking, okay, great. Well, those are finally done now, and we are into the Prem, and then you have a third one, and the third one you do always kind of forget sometimes, but there is 3 before Christmas, and but like at this point we make the same joke every year. What, international break coming already, right? It's like you can not like the international break, you can not like how it keeps chopping up the season at the beginning of it, but it's no longer a surprise. You might not like the papaya, but keep acting like you're surprised by it. Guys, come on, man, come on. It's what they do, and normally, for entertainment purposes, yeah. Like if this is why I feel like I'd be a great F1 driver, just for like just for drama, just for like the entertainment factor, not because I'm gonna like be you know, be doing the best TikToks. Or no, I mean, the same fact, but just like there's so many times I'm watching the race, and I'm like, I wish Lando would just do this. I wish this would just happen. But they're all too level-headed sometimes, and they're all too nice. And like, if I was in that situation and I got fucked by the team, there, he didn't get fucked by the team. He just got a bad pit stop, right? And that's another way people have to frame it as well, because some people push too hard the other way when they back a driver. The second the driver starts to get a couple bad pit stops, they're like calling for the head of like McLaren. How dare you fuck over my boy? Get your shit together. Talking about McLaren like it's some like faceless organization. When you're saying get your shit together, McLaren, it's a bunch of like mechanics who are like, they train this shit every day and they're in high pressure situations, and then sometimes they make a little mistake. You know how your driver who you back has made mistakes multiple times this season, where he's been on pole and he's lost it, or he hasn't been out qualifying his teammate? Yeah, they're also human beings. The people who work for that driver, or don't work for him, but like work with that driver, right, and do the pit stops, and occasionally one of them on the front left. Oh, he makes a little mistake, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, they've been fucking up with my boy Lando. Oh, you do that again, and it's just like, oh my god, guys, come on, I don't like that. But it works for them. It works for them, and I get it's not that entertaining. So I was saying, if I was in a situation, I would have just been like, I would have just stayed silent, and if they was like, oh, I'd let them speak first, and if they spoke first, and was like, fuck, sorry about that, Lando. Don't want just catch up to Piastri. We're gonna see if we can get to. I would have been like, you know what, fuck that. Let me do it on track. I'll fucking overtake him anyway because I believe he had the pace. He was like 1.2 behind with like 4 laps to go, and it wouldn't have been easy. It's easier to catch than pass, but just like because the thing is, if I'm Lando, is I know what people are thinking. This is coming from like a petty place, like a petulant place, because I'm thinking last week my car fucking blew up. I'm 34 places behind. This is for 3 fucking points. Like in my head, I'm just thinking, fuck it. I'm out here to save public image more than I am to save my championship. I'll fucking overtake him on the track. I don't give a. Let me switch me back. That just means anything. Like I would have been my petulant bag, and I would just overtake him on track. And I feel like he could have anyway. And it's for 3 points, and just do that. It's slightly more entertaining. I think he had the pace to do it. He had the time to do it, and your car blew up last week. And everyone, here's something that people love to do. Right, I know I said I was going to talk about this in order, but I'm too deep now into the papaya pie, and I got to make the slice. Right, is people love to talk. That's the tweet I was looking for earlier. Actually, Tom Bellingham. I think he's like a F1 content creator. First and foremost, he used to work on that YouTube channel WTF1 with, I want to say the other guy was called Matt something. I don't watch their stuff, but I see their stuff a lot. Like I'll see their tweets and stuff, and I know they're popular in the F1 space. I don't really listen to any F1 people really. I used to listen to Red Flags quite a lot, but I think what happens with me is when I get like I realized right when I was watching the race, like, before every race it shows you like the last 5 winners, and it was showing the last 5 winners, and it was like I can't remember. It was like Verstappen, Leclerc, whatever, Gasly, Ricardo, Gasly, and I was thinking, I remember Gasly's win. Like I'm now at a point because I only started watching this sort of Drive to Survive. I got into it. 2 seasons were out when I started watching it. I think the first season I watched was the second half of the COVID season. So once they came back from the break, the COVID break, and like it still doesn't feel like I've been watching that long, and I haven't. But like this is the first time I'm now at a point where I look at that little graphic before the race, and I know all the wins. Before I'd be looking at the graphic and I'd be like Hamilton, Vettel, Hamilton, or something. I'm like, I have no idea what happened in those races. It's just words to me on a screen. But now it's like, oh yeah, I remember what happened to that one. Hamilton, oh yeah, that was that one. Ricardo, that's when he was getting. It was like the 1-2. Gasly, as he was on the podium, it's a great photo and this and that. I think it was like a red flag or whatever. Stroll was on the podium as well. I think with that. And it's like I've been watching it for a little bit longer now, and it's just like it's hard for me to watch content creators and stuff when I'm now invested in a sport because like I'm just like shut up. It kind of just rages me. Like I don't listen to football shit, you know what I mean? Especially not Chelsea anyway. But yeah, it was Tom Bellingham. I believe that's his name. Yep, here it is. Tom Bellingham. I want to read out the bullshit tweet because I just feel like it's bollocks, mate. And it's just everyone being dramatic. And people, it's not just in F1, they do it in football as well. And it's just like picking and choosing for what fits your narrative. So this is about the switch between the McLaren boys, right? And he says this really opens a can of worms for McLaren now. If they're close on points going into Abu Dhabi, they probably won't be, judging by how things have gone this season. And then one of the cars has a slow stop. Would they really expect the driver to sacrifice the position and the championship? Where do you draw the line? Well, first of all, we're not in Abu Dhabi. We're in Monza, and there's a 30-point gap at the moment. And it doesn't fucking matter. Also, would the circumstances be the exact same? Because that's another thing people are acting like. People are acting like he just had a slow stop, and that's why they said put him back. People are not. People are really choosing to forget the first part, where the only reason he went in before him is because the team was like, "Hey, Lando, Leclerc, can you go first?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." Am I gonna? Unless he's gonna undercut me. And they was like, no, he's not going to undercut you. You'll be safe as well. And as soon as they said, by the way, I was like, something's going to fucking go wrong here. But, That's the reason he did it. And then the slow stop was bad. So it was like there was an added reason there. But yeah, if they go into Abu Dhabi and it's like, it's not a whole can of worms. It's just like, I mean, what you're describing as a whole can of worms is if this specific scenario happens again in the final race of the season. I'm not a betting man, but I'm going to say it's not going to fucking happen. Right. And I don't think that's the kind of thing McLaren, when they make a decision in this moment to keep their drivers happy for right now, is, oh, but what these guys are statisticians, right? And when they're making this decision about what should we say to Lando and Piastri here, I doubt the 0.4% chance that this could happen again in Abu Dhabi if they're close on points as well. Go keep both those things in mind. Was in the top of their list of priorities. And like, once again, another thing people always say, because this one actually isn't specifically the point I wanted to make, but it's like, so that's 3 points now that they've kind of given back to Lando. If this championship, this is what they was posing the question to Piastri, if this championship comes down to 3 points, are you going to feel a little bit pissed by that? You know, and same thing if it was Lando in the situation, are you going to feel a bit pissed by that? And again, it's picking and choosing, as if I lost the championship by 3 points, oh, these would be the 3 points is the reason I lost. Not 3 points because of that qualifying where I made a little mistake, or in that race where I went off, or in that race where I damaged my front wing and it lost me time, or in this race where we made the wrong call and we pitted a lap early when it was raining and we lost down some points there. No. The reason we would have lost would have been, we'll pick and choose this race because it's the better narrative where we switch the teams back. And by the way, the same thing to Lando in Hungary. I know it's a different season. And he had to switch back. It was Piastri's first win. Piastri was ahead the whole race. He deserved that win. Piastri has really earned this win. And yeah, Lando went in first. He got no reason to get the better strategy. I can't even really remember what the context was. But like, he did give it back after a lot of extra time. Don't get me wrong. But he had a lot more laps to sort of... I think if Lando only had like 4 laps, maybe actually he wouldn't have made that choice. But maybe he would have just made the thing quicker anyway. But like, I think what Piastri had going against him is Lando was in this situation before and he did give it back. And it was slightly different because why did you box him first or whatever? There was probably a reason like he was getting undercut or something. So again, forced strategy for their second driver and they switched it back anyway. And my third and final point, the first point is you don't have to be thinking about if this situation happens at the end of the season, if they're on the same points. That's ridiculous. You haven't got to be thinking if this season comes down to 3 points, because it won't. And if it does, there are multiple other points on the table where each driver has dropped and gained points that you could also look at. And third, and finally, right, everyone going, McLaren, this papaya rules thing, they need to scrap it. Oh my God, have you ever seen world champions act like this? These guys are both fighting for a championship and this is what they're doing. And it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think in an ideal situation, Lando says in his interview, right, I don't want to win races like this. I remember Piastri saying, like, last weekend, I don't want to win points because my teammates' car's blowing up. People want to win by just driving hard on track and just being the better driver, right? I don't want to do it, but it's fair and it's what we do, so it's what I'll do. Okay? That's from the driver's point of view. McLaren as a team, they're over the moon. They're ecstatic. Everyone thinking McLaren is some disaster. Everyone doing like little memes like their Ferrari with the McLaren pit wall and a bunch of clown wigs on. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? They have 2 drivers. Yeah, sure. Max can laugh all he wants on the radio. Like Lewis Hamilton can sit there as, that's not what I would have done that back in my day. And he can do little like side eyes, whatever. What's going on over there at McLaren? Well, I'll tell you what's going on at McLaren. They have 2 drivers who have bought into it. So as ridiculous as you think it is, they're 2 drivers who are both great, have bought into it. So that's first of all. They're not complaining about it. They're actually agreeing with it. They're doing it. Okay? They're getting multiple 1-2s through it. You know? Like, they're not like shit referees where someone gets a soft challenge, they give a foul for that one. Another challenge goes in, they don't give a foul for that one. It's like, if you're a referee and you're a little bit softer, be soft across the board. Okay, soft challenge here, soft challenge there. Sure, it's annoying, but at least you're consistent. And if you're someone who lets the game flow a little bit more, then cool. But like for all those challenges of a similar level, let it flow. And like they are consistent. Whether it's Piastri or Lando, right? We're going to switch it back round. We're going to do this and that. Whether it's fucking over Lando, fucking over Piastri, because that's all you can really be. And like, yeah, we want, deep down all this is we want to see them fight, and we want to see Lando starting to hate Piastri a little bit more. I'm sure Drive to Survive, the makers want to see that, right? And we want to see that fray a little bit more. But ultimately, one of their cars blew up last week. That's quite a big gap at the moment, and that could switch in 1 week just as quickly as it switched in the first place. But like, I just don't understand how we can be painting McLaren simply because it's not entertaining for us, right? But we can be painting McLaren as a team of clowns when they're a team who has said they have two number drivers. They haven't just talked the talk, but walked the walk in the sense they actually do kind of treat them both like number one drivers. You get priority if you're actually first in the race, and like the number one kind of goes back and forth depending on who's having the better weekend. And they have two drivers who have bought into it, and it works. Like, there isn't drivers throwing their toys out of the pram in interviews. They have a little moan for 10 seconds, and they do it every time. They listen to the team. They're getting 1-2s for it. Usually, even though they didn't win this race, just because it was outpaced, not a track for them, still got two drivers on the podium. They're not losing out to this. There is literally no issue with what they're doing. It's working very well. Would it work at Red Bull if it was like Verstappen and Lewis in the team? No. Would it work in basically many other teams in this grid? It wouldn't work with Ocon or someone if he was in a championship winning car. There are multiple drivers worse and better than Lando and Piastri where this wouldn't work, but they've picked and choose the perfect drivers here where it does work, and like, it's working very well because they're going to win the constructors easily. They're going to win the drivers easily, and they're most likely going to have the second driver on the top as well, easily. And we've seen other teams do it, obviously, often. Mercedes, probably Rosberg, Hamilton, right? But it was a lot more drama, it was a lot more fucking sweaty palms at the time as your teammates are crashing into each other. I fucking love that. I'd love to say it, don't get me wrong. But I'm just talking about from McLaren's point of view. I definitely said the same points about 3 or 4 times over in a row there, but I just had to get it through because it's just like, it just needs to be said, man. Was there anything else even? Because this is the only thing everyone's been wanting to make articles about, as if it's the only thing worth talking about from the race. So I don't even know if there was actually any other relevant stuff in the race, because it's true. It wasn't the most interesting race. I mean, Lewis had a decent job because he qualified P5. Only a 10th and a half behind his teammate this time around. Obviously, he had a 5-place drop, so went down to P10. Made some places back, got back to P6. Not too bad. Anything else on the grid here? I mean, Carlos Sainz continues to stink the gaff out. No one will talk about Carlos Sainz absolutely having a rotter, though, because people make thirst traps about Carlos Sainz. But certain other drivers who I've been seeing get a lot of hate as of late, I'll rhyme if I want to. Liam Lawson. That's actually another talking point I want to talk about for this episode. Because I'm not happy. I'm not happy about it. And yes, once again, I guess I'll be back in the villain, because I guess Lando is the villain of most of these debates. And I back him. And this time around, I'm back in Liam, who everyone's against, because I am furious. Okay. Let me bring up the race results here. I also just want to bring up the season in general, but this weekend round, I think, did he have any contact? No, he didn't have any contact with Sainz. He may have actually. He had some contact with Tsunoda. And he said in the interview, like, how do I say this in a concise way? But he said in an interview, like, oh yeah, I'm racing Tsunoda. Like, it was an interview clip of his, and everyone was acting like, oh my God, Liam's so unlikable. Liam doesn't do himself any favors, does he? How is he still in this sport? And in the interview, you watch it, and he's just like, yeah, I was following him. I was quick, and I was like, there's space here on the outside. I went on the outside. The road disappeared from me. I had nowhere to go, and I made contact. Then I went off the track, and I'd gained an advantage from it, so I gave the place back. Kept driving. That's literally what he said. In the most level-headed way, he perfectly just said exactly what happened. He didn't say I was in the right, I was in the wrong. He was just like, I was there, I was behind, I just got overtaken. I tried to get it back. I had the pace, went on the outside, road disappeared from me. Had no more space. Made contact, went off, gave the place back. And then people are like, oh my God, he's so fucking arrogant. What did you want him to fucking say? Last weekend, when he made contact with Sainz, yes, he makes a lot of contact. In the interview, he was like, yeah, the penalty is harsh. I don't want to see him get a penalty for something like that. I don't think it's fair. But it happened. Like, he's just being so level-headed, so normal, and everyone's like, fucking hell, he's such a dick. And it's like, why? And like, I'm not being funny, yeah, but you've got to be aggressive. Sometimes it feels like you've got to be aggressive. And it's only human not to be aggressive in those situations where the guy who took your seat after you was in the seat for 2 races and they sacked your ass, okay, yeah, maybe you're like, fuck it, it'd probably do me well here to stay ahead of him, and when he's in the quicker car, a car that's winning this race weekend, by the way. So Noda's in a car that is winning, because everyone wants to say, oh, one of the best races we've seen from Max in our F1 history. Winning this race by 20 seconds, and he's finishing in 13th, 2 seconds ahead of Liam Lawson, and about, bad math, 17, is that right? Seconds behind Isaac Hadjar. Right, these are the sister teams here. You know, I like Liam Lawson. He's not doing as good as he could be doing, but at the same time, it's like, it's difficult because you look at Liam Lawson like he's doing a completely shit job, but his teammate's Hadjar, who's also a rookie, and that's why he looks so shit. Whereas if his teammate was someone like Gasly, you'd say, oh, Lawson's just doing decently, but it looks like he's being completely shit because his teammate's a rookie. But maybe Hadjar is just like different fucking gravy, and he's just that good. It was a similar thing to say in the first season with Ricciardo and Norris. He was like, how bad is Ricciardo doing? Is Norris just the dog's bollocks right now, or has Ricciardo really fucking lost it? And in that case, it seemed like Ricciardo really had fucking lost it. But like, I don't know, the whole Lawson thing, it's just like, again, people have their fucking favorites. Yuki Tsunoda's trying to talk there about, that guy should maybe think about how he carries himself, because, you know, you're the sister team here. We're under the same roof. Okay, Mr. PR, man. You wasn't saying that when you fucking run up his insides. It's mad every single time I say it. After that race, which race was it? Or did you do it to Daniel Ricciardo? To Daniel Ricciardo, when he was Daniel Ricciardo's teammate. And he came up and he was basically like cut across him, drove into him. And Daniel Ricciardo was in the interview like, I've got to try and not speak right now because I'm going to fucking lose my shit. You know, like, you can't be Mr. Professionalism, pick and choose when you want to be. I like Yuki Tsunoda. I do think he deserves the seat the most out of Ricciardo, out of Lawson, out of Perez and whatever. I know it's a tricky second seat and it's only got trickier and trickier as years have gone by. But you're also doing a pretty shit job. And like, you're also never finishing in the points, and you're finishing 13th when your teammate's winning 20 seconds ahead of Lando Norris. Like, and I want people to understand, right, when I'm saying all this, I like Yuki Tsunoda. I like Liam Lawson. I like Max Verstappen. I like Oscar Piastri. I like Lando Norris. I like, you know, all these people. I like all of them. You know, I've got slight more favorites here and there, but it's just like, I like Lando Norris, but I don't like call the team fucking useless twats when they make one bad pit stop or a few bad pit stops over the past few weeks. He's had slightly worse luck in terms of pit stops and like car difficulties across the season, I think, than Piastri. But I don't fucking like. I also look at Lando and go, oh, he's done that shit. Oh, he's fucking pissing me off there. Why has his starts been so bad? Why has he been slightly off it in qualifying? Like, these things, I'll still call it out, right? Albon has been fucking sensational. I saw a graphic. He's only finished outside the points for 2 races this season. That is fucking mind-boggling. Like, George Russell, back when he was at that Mercedes, could not even fathom something like that. Okay? That team came a decent way. Unluckily, Sainz can't seem to keep up, because that's another drive I want to cover real quick. Carlos Sainz has been getting absolutely nothing. And yeah, Liam Lawson, it seems like he's making contact every week. You know who is also making contact every week? Carlos Sainz, and no one gives a fuck. Because he's a H&M model, and that seems to get you away with everything. And that's the thing, he's not even fucking Burberry or someone. He's like a H&M model, and no one gives a fuck, mate. I mean, where are the driver standings? Because that's what I fucking need right now. Driver standings. Because where is he in them? And how far behind his teammate Alex Albon is he? Because I predicted it like everyone else, don't get me wrong, that he would cream him. They was going to smoke Alex Albon. He's sitting on 16 points. He's in 18th. You know who he's behind, actually? The driver you all hate because he's shit. Liam Lawson. Okay, he's behind Liam Lawson. And Alex Albon is 7th. Only drivers ahead of him are people driving in 2 McLarens, a Red Bull, a Mercedes, and 2 Ferraris. He's ahead of Kimi, who's in a Mercedes. Yeah, it's his debut season. He's ahead of the other racing ball in Hadjar. He's both Aston Martins, the Kicks, all the other teams. He is sitting in 7th. What a job he is doing. And Carlos Sainz is sitting in 18th. We all predicted Carlos Sainz was going to comfortably beat Albon. We couldn't see a world in which Albon would beat Sainz. Sainz is having contact every week. He is sitting The only drivers below him are Yuki Tsunoda, also having a shit time, and then 2 drivers with 0 points, the Alpine boys. So forget Alpine. They're basically non. They're not worth speaking about. They haven't got a single point. They may as well not exist. Okay, you're essentially second from last out of the people who have scored points, and Yuki is dead last. I mean, Yuki and Carlos, I don't think are getting enough conversation, honestly, for what I'm currently reading. What race is next? Race Calendar. We just had Monza. Is it gonna be? Oh, it usually shows me nicely. Oh, I didn't put F1. That's probably why. There we go. Azerbaijan. Are we having a week off? We are having a week off. It's the 21st Baku street race. Oh, Paris is gonna be salivating on the sidelines. Don't know what I'm predicting, but honestly, I'm probably predicting Piastri to have a better weekend. I just feel like it's the kind of track where Piastri. I didn't see Lando pulling something out the bag for Baku. Singapore maybe, because maybe I'm just saying because did he win that Singapore last year? But I hope so for Baku. But at this point, like we're like 32 points off Piastri or whatever. Like getting these little wins where it's like 3 points here, 3 points there, it doesn't really fucking mean niche, does it? So that's that. That was a lot of tangenting about a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily on track stuff. It was about a lot of like performances and people's like, inner workers of teams and stuff. But that's just what this weekend was given, kind of. We got Hards on. We're going to the end. This is the Hards on podcast, and I'll see you for Baku on the 21st of September. Thanks.